Is the screen good? Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Shmi, good morning, Fam Yisrael.
Amen.
So we're on the afternoon. Hey, is that true?
Yes.
And the top line. What is there on the bottom? Anything on the
No,
bottom?
so we got to
No, yeah. So we're a little further. We're starting again. So let's start from the beginning again to get into the subject. The whole thing is that today's whole sugya, the whole daf, the whole thing it seems to be a side subject. It comes in because of one reason, because of one issue, that Rav Meir, these words, Hektish, Be'amezid Meschala. So just go back to the Mishnah again. The Mishnah spoke about a few sugyas about a man who's Makadosh a woman with either Makadosh Bechelko from his korban, or Ma'aser Sheni, or Hektish. So we're on the last one, and it came out a very, the Gemara doesn't present the pshat as 1, 2, 3, or make a machlokas out of it. But what happens is hektish. What's the machlokas? Rav Meir says the shogig. It doesn't. 1 second. I'm sorry, testing. Keep on that the whole time. Let's hold this open at the same time to be able to. Rav Meir says that the shogig it doesn't work. Only b'mezid. And Rabbi is the opposite. That the shogig does work, b'mezid it doesn't work. What's the essence of machlokes? So there's an issue about when someone's moel, when somebody does milah b'hektish, so it becomes mischalal. It goes out, loses its kedushin. In order that it should be kedushin over here, it surely has to be his money. If it's not his money, if it's hektish money, then surely it's not kedushin. So anybody that says that it's kiddush is going to be because it became mischalal, it became chulin, it became money. It was an avera to do, but putting the avera aside, it became chulin, and now he wants to be mekadosh a woman. So let's take Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is simple. Rabbi Yehuda says the shogeg it works, and mezid doesn't work. Why should that be? Why should it be? So the pshat of Rabbi Yehuda is surely because he holds that the din that when you use hektish, it becomes chulin. He holds is only by shogeg and not by mezid, and therefore the shogeg it's a good kedushin. It means he gave her money for kedushin. He didn't realize that it's hektish money, so it's called meila, and it goes to chulin. So he did an avera, but the ma'aser became chulin and it's good kedushin. But if he did it in mezid, he knew what it was, so then it doesn't become chulin, and therefore it's not a good kedushin.
It doesn't become chulin.
I don't know otherwise. The Gemara doesn't talk about all this Gemara. I think till the end, it's not going to say why. And where do they get it from? How come he holds this way, he holds that way? But Rabbi Yehuda, that's why we pass. The Gemara said yesterday we have a Stamish Nais like Rabbi Yehuda, so we pass like Rabbi Yehuda that the shogeg is mischalel. The word mischalel means that it becomes chulin, and b'mezid it doesn't become chulin. Just to point out a side issue, everybody holds that the korban meal is only b'shogeg. Regardless, and that the Gemara says that it's only become mischalel. Who wouldn't be mischalel? There's nothing to be a korban for. That the Gemara said also on the base yesterday. But the mezid there's no korban, even if he did bad, but and it is mischalel maybe, but it's such a bad avera that there's no korban for it. That's not a problem. That it could be that it was an avera, and it could be mischalel, but there's no korban. Everyone holds that by mezid there's no korban. Show there's a korban. We're talking about the issue of mischalel. We're not talking about the issue if it's meal or not. We're talking about the issue of it's mischalel. And Rabbi Yehuda here is muchat that he holds that the shogeg gets mischalel, and b'mezid is not mischalel. There's another issue that Gemara brought up that sometimes when it's b'shogeg, so under such circumstances I wouldn't have done it. If I would have known this in Avera, I wouldn't have done it. But that Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of. That was Rav Meir's fault. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of it. Rabbi Yehuda says that even if it was b'shogeg, there's no excuse to say I wouldn't have meant to get married under such circumstances if I would have known that it's doing an Avera. So Rabbi Yehuda is clear. Rabbi Yehuda is pretty clear. Rav Meir is the opposite, and that needed more explanation. Rav Meir says that the mezid it is a good kedushin, and the shogeg is not a good kedushin. So the Gemara had three pshatim to say why the shogeg is not a good kedushin. The other part is simple, and he says the mezid is good kedushin. So Rav Meir surely holds that the mezid it is mischal. If it wouldn't be mischal, then it would be hektish money. It wouldn't be good kedushin. So the main sugya that we're going to be based on today is based on these words that Rav Meir holds Hektish b'mezid mischala. That was our mayor non-Mishnah. For Meir says that's for our
Schal means to
sugya
lose
today.
its Kiddushin.
The Schala means to lose its kedusha. So Meir says that when someone uses hektish, b'mezid, it loses its kedusha. And that's the reason that, and how do you see that? And that's why it's good kedusha. He did an avera, he did a bad avera, but it's a good kedusha because he was mischala. The other point that he says b'shogeg, it's not a good kedushin. That the Gemara had three pshatim for. We went through that. There are three different pshatim. There's Rabbi Yochanan, and then Rav, and then Bar Koda. Rabbi Yochanan said because they didn't mean to get married under such circumstances. If they would have known that it's hektish, they wouldn't have done it. That's the reason why shogeg not. And the other pshat was that's talking about big dekuna. And since even when you're doing it right, you also have some personal benefit over there. So it's not regular hektish. And therefore, when you did it with shogeg, it's not gonna be mischala. And the third shot was Barpada that says that he holds that the shogeg is not mischala. The shogeg is not mischala. So all that's not to get to us today. Today we're going in the part of our mayor that says that it is mischala, and we don't pass like this. Yesterday we passed like Rabbi Yehuda, and that's pretty much I think everybody had it many times. That we know that meal is only b'shogeg, not b'mezid, but here we also stick on to it also Rabbi Yehuda's din that b'shogeg is mischala and b'mezid is not mischala. That's the famous Rabbi Yehuda, and that's how we pass him. But today's Gemara is not going to be a halacha. Today's Gemara is Rabbi Meir, and Rabbi Meir holds that hektish b'mezid is mischala. And if you want to, we could do our regular way of making parentheses and today's parentheses. Yes.
The din of being mischal hektish.
The hektish b'mezid mischala, right? And
What about Mesish?
yesterday or tomorrow.
It's
Yesterday or
a
tomorrow,
different thing.
but not today.
Because yeah. I don't want to make a comparison. That's why I'm asking.
No comparison.
The only comparison is that the mission brought them together in the same mission.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do about mischala by Masasheni. Over there, the issue is going to be what does it belong to? Does it belong to Mama Gavo or Mama Hegel?
The question is hectic. That's getting into my mind and having a hard time.
Okay, so this whole daf, of them, everything is a cruise, and it's all going to be about this one din that Rabbi Meir says the hektish. When you use it, it loses its kedusha. So we're learning a Mishnah in Shkolim today, and that's really the subject of Mishnah in Shkolim. And maybe Rabbi Meir of our Mishnah might help out to explain the Mishnah in Shkolim. So it says, "No, Mishnah in Shkolim." Then Mishnah says, if an animal was found in the radius of Yerushalayim till Migdal Eder and the same distance any place around Yerushalayim. So the question is that maybe it's a korban, since in that area of Yerushalayim and about 15 mil, I'm not sure how far Migdal Eder is, and the same distance in any direction of Yerushalayim, Yechoshish that maybe an animal is a korban. You can't find the owner, Hashavas Aveda, I don't know what you can do Hashavas Aveda, but the issue is that maybe it's a korban. You can't treat it as chulin, you have to be choshish it's a korban. Which korban? You don't know which korban. So there's difference between a male. Go ahead.
First, you don't know it's mamash is a korban.
You don't know.
Secondly, you don't know what kind of korban is.
That doesn't say it shouldn't be a korban because you don't know which one.
There's a korban.
That's one subject. That's one subject. You don't know if it's a korban.
And you also don't know what it is.
That doesn't help you. That just makes more problems. It doesn't take off the possibility that it's kodesh. Which kodesh it is? That's another question. But that's not going to help you taking off the Kiddushin. You're not going to say it's a double suffix, therefore it's not Kodesh. You have one suffix, is a Kodesh or not. And you have to be machmir. Which Kodesh?
Consider the rice.
Yes, the rice. Yeah, it could be, it's a big chance also. It could be that most animals even were karbanis in that area. People that bought, you didn't have animals, Tam and Chayim, you bought Kodesh animals, maybe. But anyway, that's the din over there that actually Chosh does a korban. Which korban? So the Mishnah says, Zechorim, Olos. If it's a male animal, so you're Chosh does a korban Ola, because Ola is a Zochar.
Male.
And it can't, if it's in a cave, you're not Chosh does an Ola. In the cave, it's Ziv Chishlam. If it's in a cave, it's a female animal, so then you assume that it's a Shlam. So the Pashtan, that's the end of the Mishnah. And that's what we're going to be discussing the whole day. So the Pashtan of the Mishnah means that if it's a Zochar, you bring it as a korban Ola. If it's in the cave, you bring it as a korban Shlam. Period. That's the whole Mishnah. But the Gemara says that's not necessarily true. It's true that in the keva cannot be a ola, but a zachor could be a ola or a shlamim. So when you find the zachor, how could you bring it as an ola? Maybe it's a shlamim. If it's in the keva, you bring it as a shlamim because it can't be an ola. The Gemara is going to ask other kashas also. The other kabbanas that it might be. That's going to be kashas later on. But so far the Gemara is just dealing with the ola and the shlamim. So in the keva cannot be an ola. So it's a shlamim. Fine, you bring it as a korban shlamim. But a zachor you're going to bring as a korban ola. Maybe it's a shlamim. A shlamim could be a zachor or a keva. So that's the Gemara's kasha. Till here is the Mishnah. That's the Mishnah. Not a Marsa Kasha. Elas Chorim, Olas who the Havus, Zivche Shlamim will Havu. A Zachar can only be all can be a Shlamim, can be a Shlamim also. So maybe you should. So how do you know what to do? How could you bring the Zachar as a Korban Ola? Maybe it's a Shlamim. Am Rabbi Shaya, Achav Lachuvat with Mein Askina. You don't bring it as a Korban. Then the cave you can bring it as a Shlamim because you only have one suffix. Everything's subject to change. But meanwhile, I'm allowing myself to say that you bring it as a Korban Shlamim because you only have one suffix. But the Ola, the Zachar, you can't bring as a korban Ola because you can't have two doubts. You can't have the suffix. Maybe it's Ola, maybe it's a Shlamim.
Are there more Olas than Shlamim?
It seems not. So if you have a korban Zachar, you can't bring it as an Ola because maybe it's a Shlamim. So what does the Mishnah mean to say that is an Ola? The person is coming to obligate himself for the value. That means that the person who found it wants to be generous, a chassid, and he wants to take care of this animal, which might be a korban. So he's willing to pay money to take care of whatever it's necessary in order to save this animal and bring it as a korban. So we're telling him, it's not definitely an ola, it could be a shlamim, but Yechoshish maybe it's an ola also. So the animal, which is in the cave, but it's only a shlamim, so bring it as a shlamim. But the animal, which is a zachar, it might be an ola also. So therefore, you're gonna have to pay for bringing an extra animal. You're gonna end up bringing an ola and a shlamim because you don't know which one it is. But this animal, what do you do with this animal? This animal, you're not gonna do anything, or you can't bring it as is because you don't know it's an ola or shlamim. So how do you so you're gonna bring two animals, one an ola and a shlamim? What does that have to do with this animal? You have to save this animal. This animal is kodesh, and maybe it's kodesh. And so you poda. How do you poda animal? Animal is kodesh. So usually you're not allowed to do that. Usually you're not allowed to do that. They're usually only allowed to be poda balmum. And usually in the whole shas, whenever it talks about these kind of speakers, it always is going to say yirachi yistoy, v'yimocha, v'yipludama, whatever, that you wait, let it pasture until it gets a mum, and then after it gets a mum, then you can be folded, and then with the money. So here, that's what we would expect to do over here, that you wait till it gets a mum. This animal that you want to bring as a korban, you can. So you wait till it gets a mum, and now you don't know if it's an ola or shlamim, and now you say if it's an ola, then the money should go on to, the money is ola money. So now I'm going to be quoted the money, the value of this balmum ola onto this money or this animal. Maybe you can do it direct to an animal. Maybe Rashi talks about the money. So put it onto money. You take the value of both of these animals. Let's say it costs $100. So you take two piles of $100, and you say if it's a ola, so then it's on this money. If it's a shlamim, then it's on this money. And then you take the two monies and you buy the two animals, ola and a shlamim.
So what do you do with this guy?
So here, and then you have, if you have the balmum, if you leave it as a balmum, so now you have the balmum, and now you can sell it. You can sell it and you can use it. But the Gemara doesn't think so. This has to put in parentheses on footnote that this going to be the Gemara. And I'm based. The Gemara is going to say this simple answer that is like the whole shas, that you wait till it gets a mum, and then you put it, and then you have the two monies, and you want to be generous. This guy wants to be generous and pay the extra money.
Wow.
So it costs $100. You can get $100 for it after you get some mum. And he has to put another $100 in order to get the other animal because he doesn't know it's ola or shlamim.
So by finding this behavior, it costs him money.
But he didn't have to. He didn't have to. No one told him he has to. But he wants to. He wants to obligate himself to help out the animal, which might be a korban. It might not be. But it says that's a korban. You don't know which korban it is. So I'll pay out the extra $100 in order to buy another animal to bring an ola and a shlamim. So I just said the pshat that the Gemara is going to say number base, which is really simple. And I don't know why the Gemara thinks differently. But the Gemara doesn't think that it means you wait till it gets a moon. So that's the big pell over here. How do you take a tamim? You take a non-blemished animal, which might be a korban. You don't know which it is, a ola shlamim. How are you going to take off the Kiddushin? So the Gemara thinks, the Gemara thinks that has to do with our Mishnah. The Ram Mishnah says that if you misuse hektish, the Kedusha goes off. So the Gemara thinks you can do it. You can do it right. You can go ahead and do it. You have this animal, you don't know if it's Olo or Shlamim. So I hereby,
Maybe it's because I intend to do this.
I,
This is
inten-
my-
I
it's my intention.
intentionally
Intentionally gonna take off
take off the
of
Kedusha.
this animal, put
Not
it
if I'm
in-
misusing it. I don't have to do anything with it. I just say that I want the animal, that the Kedusha of the animal should be transferred onto this money. Now I don't know what kind of money it is. It says that all the money is a Shlamim money. So then I take another part of the money and I say whichever one that is not, this is. And then you bring both that. And the Gemara sees in Rav Meir that you could do this, which is like how do you say? Like it's a world revolution. That Rav Meir holds you could take a tamim, you could take a animal which is not a balmum, and just intentionally take off the kedusha by saying, "I hereby transfer the kedusha onto this money," because it is one line. And the Gemara has problems with that, but so far it's good. That mayor that says that if someone misuses hektish intentionally, the kedusha goes off. If he doesn't like that, we don't pass like this. We pass like the shogeg goes off. The mazer it doesn't go off. So there's no eight of doing it over here. You can't misuse it. You can't transfer the kedusha to the shogeg. But according to mayor, that if you misuse the hektish, the mazer, the kedusha goes off. You could intentionally transfer the kedusha off this animal that is a tamim. It's a tam. It's a unblemished animal, and transfer it onto money, and then bring it over in the shlomim. The more problems. Everything we talked about till now that kedusha goes off is only talking about kedusha's bedek habayis, like a table that's hektish. What else? Whatever somebody had, he had hektish. He had all kinds of objects that became hektish, and he wanted to be mekadesh, the woman with hektish. That we talk about is mischala maybe, and the kedusha goes off, and that's what the Mishnah was talking about. That if someone was mekadesh with hektish, so does the kedusha go off or not? The shogeg, the amazing, no discussion. But kedusha saguf, if there was kedusha saguf of an animal, the animal was a korban. You think that if the kedusha goes off when you misuse it? So this is shedding light on our Mishnah that we spoke about hektish, but not more saying hektish doesn't mean a korban. Hektish means something was bedek habayis, something was donated to the Beis Hamikdash, and it has called what we call kedusha's damim, that it's only holy for its value, but not that it itself is inherently the table that someone was makdish, or a horse, whatever it might be, a donkey. So it doesn't have inherent kedusha. It's just that its value is holy. So over there, if someone misused it, he rode on the horse. So then the kedusha goes off. But if there's a kedusha zaguf, there's an animal that's a korban, does the kedusha go off just because somebody was moral? What to not? Ein moral lachamoral b'mukdashin elabevhem u'klishoras b'lvad. It says that if somebody was moel, somebody misused hektish, and then he misused hektish again. Two people used it. Let's say there's a table of hektish that no one's allowed to use, hands off, no one's allowed to be nanny from the table, and one person used it, and then another person used it. So it says that by things that usually ain moel lachar moel, that after the first milah, there's no milah in the second time, because after the milah, the kedusha went off. If someone used the table, let's say milah is only b'shogeg, the means there is no milah. So someone used the table b'shogeg, he didn't realize that it's hektish, so he was moel. And now a second person uses the table, also b'shogeg, so he's not chayiv. Why? Because the kedusha went off already. The first one used the table of hektish. Now a second person uses it, he's not using hektish, because after the first one used it, the kedusha went off. But the Behema and Klishoros are an exception. Regular Kodshim, there's no Milah after Milah. But by Behema, there is. What does that mean? If somebody, it has two examples. That it is going to be Milah after Milah, which is another way of saying that the Kedusha doesn't. It stays hektish. The Ketzad, what's an example of a Behema and Klishoros that the Kedusha
The Zoom is frozen.